I love poinsettias, and today my whole video is about poinsettias and how we can use them to create beautiful decor, cards, and gifts. So today we have 4 different ways that we are creating poinsettias. We're using the Cricut machine, we're using die cuts, we're using several different things, and we're going to use them in different ways. So the first thing I want to show you has to do with this project that I've shown you several times actually over the year in different versions. And so I'm trying to create decor in my home that I don't need to store a lot of stuff. And so I really love doing these mandalas. I love the layers, I love the colors. So what I did is got this square frame. I think I got that at Target. And then I just attached a strip of magnetic tape. And then each time I make one of these, I attach the magnetic tape on the back. And then it'll just stick on and it'll actually hold up when you turn it over. And then all you have to store is this. I have a box and I just wrap them in tissue or not, and I just file them in the box. And so for this really nice storage, all it is one box. That's what we're starting with. And then so today, because we're doing a poinsettia, but I've already, I went ahead and cut these pieces with my Cricut. And you can go into Cricut and just search for like mandala poinsettia or mandala rose, and you can see all kinds of things that come up. Sometimes if you just search for the separate thing like snowflake, you'll also find mandala versions. So you want a version that has lots of layers. I have gone ahead and applied tape to the parts that are really tiny and fiddly. This one was so intricate to get it on there, I just went ahead and glued it. And generally you want a foam tape that gives it some dimension, but that was just so delicate, I went ahead and just glued it onto the background, and I think that's fine. And so I'm going to go ahead and we'll take off the tape parts of these and get this assembled, and you'll see what a pretty decoration this ends up being. And so we just keep working in order. I'll get my handy dandy garbage bin in here because that is actually going to help quite a bit. And we'll just zip through this and start getting these layers assembled. Okay, so I have Cricut Design Space open so I can figure out how I'm supposed to line this up. I'm going to turn this so that it's actually laying on my table the same way it's lying on the screen, and then that actually helps me see it more clearly. And sometimes if it's hard to tell, you can actually, in Cricut Design Space, take the item apart and see exactly what direction it's going in. And the beautiful thing about mandalas is, okay, so let's say you get it slightly off from what you're seeing on the screen. It's not gonna, once it stacks, it's gonna be beautiful. When you're putting your tape on your item, make sure that you're putting the tape on the, whatever is the finest cut part. So if that makes sense, I wouldn't, in order to place this down, I wouldn't be putting tape on this big piece, because then when I put the fine piece on, the tape's going to show. So make sure you're putting your tape on the finest part. Okay, this is going to take a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and take off these pieces, and I'll be right back with you. We've got that next piece off. So now let's go ahead and line that up. Get that pushed down. Oh, already that's looking so pretty. And then comes this next piece. And I haven't put the tape on that. I kind of wanted to show you that. I like to get my tape from the dollar store. My foam tape, it's, you know, $1. It comes in 3 different sizes, and I just really like that. And then one other thing I wanted to point out is that when you're using foam tape like this, it makes your scissors get kind of gummed up. So what I do, I try to get through the project before I take care of that. But if it gets too bad, you can stop part way and go ahead and take care of your scissors. So let me show you what I like to do about that. One of my favorite products to use around the house and in crafting is Goo Gone. And I actually keep a bottle of it in my craft room and in the utility closet upstairs. And so I like to just use that to clean off my scissors. It gets that goo off so fast. So I just put some in my little dish, and then I can just hold that down on that on those scissor blades and work on that just a little bit, and it just gets that goo right off. Now if it's really bad, let me cover these up when I spray it. If it's really bad, you can soak it for a time, and that really helps. So there's a couple of ways you can use that. I use this quite a bit for taking labels off of things. There are just so many ways to use it, and it just gets that goo right off of there. Now I'm having to, I guess, scrub it a little bit here. If I let this soak, I wouldn't even have to do that. It just comes right off. So there's just an idea, and now my scissors are no longer gummed up, and they're just fine. Okay, let's move on with our poinsettia. So when I look at the picture, I can see that these are offset in relation to this other one. Now, because this is very fine, very delicate, I'm going to show you another way that these can be assembled. And you do want that layering texture. That's part of the beauty of a mandala. But sometimes what you are working with is very fine. And so this time, instead of cutting the real narrow tape like I did the other one, and you saw that it took quite a while to take the tape off, and it took even longer to get those little tiny bits of foam tape on. So I'm just going to show you the easier way now too, because I don't want to take up too much time. And one other advantage of using the glue on those is because it does not stick down immediately. The foam tape will, but the glue gives you a little bit of time to work with it and slide it a little bit and get it into position. Oh, that is looking so pretty. And then our last part, the little yellow part that goes in the middle. Okay, I just think that's beautiful. You can see the dimension. It's just so pretty. This may actually be my favorite of the mandalas I've made. So now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to get a piece of magnetic tape. And you can see some of that tape showing through on the other side of this one. I'm not too worried about that. Now what I'm going to do is bring in my square, and you'll see this tape is a little bigger than the piece I have down there. That's okay, it actually helps. So what I'm going to do is take the sticky back off, put the magnets together so that they join correctly, and then I'm going to decide how I want my poinsettia to face, and then I'm just going to set it down and give it a push, and then I've got that tape put right on it, right where it'll center it up. And even though it's not quite centered on the poinsettia itself, when I put it on the board, it'll center it up and be just right. And I do have a little leeway to move it around a little bit if I want to, but I just love it that just holds right there. Such an easy, beautiful decoration. I'll go ahead and link another of my mandala videos up in the corner so you can see some other ones, but I think that may be my favorite. I love that. And think of this as a Christmas gift that you give the frame and the box, and in that box you've got several different seasons already made for the person you're giving it to. What a thoughtful, kind gift, and easy for that person to quickly change their decor. Okay, let's go on to our next way to do a poinsettia. This is a Cricut project with a Dollar Tree blank. And so this is one that I found, oh, it's probably been a while ago. And generally I like the square ones that are like this, and I love that beaded rope. But I found this one, and I just really liked it to be able to add a sentiment and a picture. So this has this kind of raised little piece here. And so I'm just going to take that off, just so we have a flat surface. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I guess I could have done this before, but this doing it with it inside the frame gave me a way to kind of hold on to it while I was scraping. There we go. Now that that's basically smooth, I'm going to bring in just a piece of this pretty, it's this greenish paper, but it's got a little bit of a snow look to it, and I really like that. So I'm just going to use that and mark it so that I can see exactly where to cut it. There we go. All right. I really like that. Now, here's my thinking, because this paper is going to be held in place with the frame. I'm not even going to worry about gluing it down, because I might want to change this out, just like I did with my mandala frame. This is something that I could change out for various holidays. And these kinds of things make really great gifts. And so, because you can give the basic frame, and that's, you know, $1.25 at the dollar store, but then you can also make different cards that would go in there for each different season or month or holiday. Let's go ahead and get this weeded. And I'm just going to lay this out just to get an idea of how this is going to go on. And so I'm going to put that there. Now, I've got two different versions of a poinsettia. And so I want to show you both and hold this up and see which one I actually will end up liking best with this particular project. Now, how do you say it? Do you say it poinsettia? Do you say poinsettia? What's the correct way? I think it must be depending on where you're from. And I wonder what they're called in other languages too. So if you know, make a comment of how it's to be spoken correctly or other ways that you might say it in other languages. I really love how that weeded right out. So I'm just going to pick those up and get those into place, and then I will be able to see this, and I will transfer the whole thing at once. That is really pretty. I do like that quite a bit. Okay, let's look at my other poinsettia option. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and weed these so I can get an idea of how everything is going to go together. We've got leaves. And it's kind of fun to do it this way, because in the end you end up with almost putting things together like a sticker. Okay, just get it so I can see. And then I'm going to offset these. And you may not even be able to see on camera the different shades of that red. It is very subtle. This last little bit is going to be really tricky because it is so delicate. I think that's just really pretty. So the way these are designed, I like to go ahead and assemble the whole thing on that vinyl backing so that I can kind of get the whole thing figured out and together. Let's just get all of our elements transferred onto our paper. Now, because I'm transferring onto paper, I prefer to use this transfer tape. I like this if I'm transferring onto paper because it doesn't stick as firmly and won't pull up and tear. This is why I like this tape so much if I'm transferring onto paper, because just look how easily that just went up. And then I'm just storing that on here until I am finished with my paper things. So this is cutting a piece off from the piece I've already used. And one thing about this transfer tape is that it can't be reused as many times as, say, your standard transfer tape. Push that down with those. I'm wondering if that might be a little small for the space, but let's see. Let's put it into our frame and see. And actually, I like that because I wanted the Joy to the World to be the main part of this. So I think we're gonna go with it. All right, now, of course, you can do what you like best. You could put a little manger scene here. You could put just snow. You could center this this way on the frame. But either way, you can make a little gift or decor for your own home that uses the beautiful poinsettia. I'm really excited to put together this project. This one that we already did, I will be using that in my next project, so stay tuned for that. All right, so this is a set of dies that I got at Hobby Lobby on sale, and it makes this beautiful poinsettia. And so we're going to assemble that, and then we're going to use it on a very simple, straightforward card. So let's look at this. I have my pieces. I did all the die cutting off camera. Let's create a little space here. There are 3 sizes. And look how that's going to go together. And they have a lot of detail in them. I don't know if you can see the lines and things, but it's just so pretty. And when I saw that particular die, I knew that that's one I could use over and over and over, and that I would. And it also comes with these greens. Now, if you watched my last card video, you'll know that I'm always looking for greens to use all year long. Those could be used definitely in other seasons. And you know, I don't like to buy a lot, and so I want to get things that I can use through many, many, many seasons. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot of glue, a pretty big dot of glue right there in the middle. And then I'm going to do my next level, and we offset those so that the next level goes between the petals of the previous level. And I cut these from 3 shades of red, and then the same thing here, just right in the middle, and then we offset that again. With a poinsettia, you really don't want any lining up. So this is one reason I like the glue, is you can turn and get things into position before it actually is permanently stuck down. Now I'm going to come in with my little grabber tool. I've showed this in another video, and it's great for positioning on this end, but also on this end you can grab little tiny things. I'm going to use the same glue. I'm using the Art Glitter Designer Adhesive because I like that it dries clear. So I'm going to, in the middle of this, just put 3 dots of my glue, and then I'm going to come in with my little picker-up tool and just set those right on the glue dots. There we go. I just love this. This is why I love poinsettias so much, because they just have so much depth of color and layers, and I just really like that. So now I want to bring my greenery behind it. So I'm going to do both of those. This is more actually the poinsettia leaf, but I do like this that's more of a pine bough accent. And so I'm going to flip this over and just do my bits of glue here and get that in. And then I'm going to place the other one. And I'm checking to make sure I've got the textured side down so that when I flip it, it'll poke up with the thing. There we go. And I can push that down. I love that. I think that is just so pretty. And I'm almost tempted to go ahead. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pick up my other one and use this instead, because look at that. It's so big and so impressive. And so we're going to trade that around. So this is what happens when you're crafting. You go along and all of a sudden you say, nope, I want to do this different. I think that is one of the reasons I love crafting, is because it is creative. You do things based on your eye, how you see it. I like that so much better. And because there is a little bit of texture on these, I'm actually going to just lift up those petals just a little bit and create some added texture in this. Oh, that's turning out so pretty as I do this. Okay, I don't know if you can see that those petals are raised. Oh, that turned out so much prettier. And I went ahead and saved the ones I took off because I can use those elsewhere. And now that's something I'm really kind of proud of, that I could give as a gift and use for decor in my own home. Way better. I'm going to go ahead and assemble more of these poinsettias, and then I'll show you how we're finishing those off. I'm going to go ahead and leave them flat until I decide where they're going, and then I can go back through and raise the petals like I did with this one and create that texture. I so love those. I think they're beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and use a white card. It's a top open card, and I want to use some more of this same paper, and you'll see that I kind of end up with a cohesive look with all of these projects. Okay, I think they'll do this nice sort of rich green that we have here. And so I had an 8.5 by 11, so I went ahead and cut it at 4 1/4 so that I could get a nice top opening card. Now I'm starting to rethink the whole thing. I do really like layering and depth, and so I'm going to go ahead and add even a white to the back of that. I think I'm going to like that better. I just like it when there's, I guess, a little more visual interest. I do really like that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Misty stamping tool, because I think what I want to do is put just the Merry Christmas right on there. And then I think I want to find like a deep forest green that sort of matches that leaf. I've got one called Handsome Hunter. This is from Stampin' Up. I like that. It comes off kind of simple. And so I think the beauty of that is with the intricacy of the poinsettia. I think it just is really nice. And then I like that very much. Now I can use that piece of scratch paper that I tested my stamp on, and I can go ahead and put that right there. Nobody will ever see it, and it doesn't show through. So then I can create a little insert to write on. And then let's finish up with gluing down our poinsettia. Now I'm going to go ahead and use glue rather than the tape runner, and I do like the Elmer's tape runner. It really holds down, but I want to be able to move this maybe just a little. And sometimes in the cold, going through the mail, tape runners don't always hold down, and I don't know about the Elmer's, but I'm going to be safe and go ahead and use my glue. Oh, that's so pretty. Simple and pretty. And then I'm just going to go through and lift the petals. And I know going through the mail, it might smash them down a little, but it also might give a little bit of texture. So there's our finished card. Very simple, very easy. We're using same ideas. And so sometimes part of what makes crafting more difficult and take a long time is if we're shifting out designs frequently. But sometimes just use the same ideas and repeat, but for different projects. Then you can have different projects done without having to rethink colors and things over and over and over. Okay, let's look at our next project using our poinsettias. And this time we're going to use this one and maybe some of this greenery. We'll see what we decide to do. So what I did, if you've watched other videos, you know I like to start with blanks from the dollar store. And this one was an 8.5 by 11, but it comes with a backing in the middle. And so you can actually create 4 different notebooks from this. And so what I did is I used my finger blade. I just went through and I cut and cut and cut until it was split in half. And that's the way I did it in the beginning. But then I found out that my copy store actually can cut paper. So what I did is I took this in and I bought several at the dollar store, and then I took them in and they can stack 2 on top and do 1 cut. At my copy store, they charge $1 per cut. So I took these in and had them cut them, and it was so much faster, so much easier, took so much less time that I actually prefer to do that, pay the $1 to get 4 notebooks. And sometimes they can even stack them 3 high. And that's what I'll ask. I'll go in and I'll say, can you cut 3 of these all at once or whatever? And I've had them cut the smaller ones. These are my favorites for mini notebooks. And I was able to get a whole bunch of notebooks for just $4. I was able to get tons of notebooks cut. And so if you saw my Halloween mini notebook video, you saw how I used these in different ways. So we're going to do a Christmas notebook. Of course, this is a bigger size. So we're going to work on this notebook. So I have some papers that I have chosen, and I got these on a sale at Hobby Lobby. It's Paper Studio, and this was a Christmas collection that I got just this year. And I did not have much Christmas paper, and I had made some Christmas papers, but I wanted a little bit of a thicker one. And then when I saw this, it's pretty heavy and it was on sale, I said, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And so I've got 2 different papers that I've cut to actually be able to overlap the sides. Actually, I have a piece of cardstock. This is medium weight cardstock. I will link all of these things in the description below the video. So I cut that so that this could be folded over, and then that's going to cover our edges. And I went ahead and I really like this 2-inch wide double-sided tape, and it is a strong stick. And so I've already applied that to the back side of my chipboard. And I just really like these two-sided adhesives. And then I'm going to line that up on my paper there. And then I'll come back and just make sure that's really well pressed down. And then I have used some narrow 2-sided adhesive just to line these edges. And before I pull that up, I'm going to go through and just kind of bend those in so that these are going to fold up really neatly around that chipboard. And I really enjoy using chipboard. In a future video, I'll show you some ways to cut your chipboard. Before I fold this in, I'm going to trim down those corners a little bit. Otherwise, I get too much bulk and it's kind of hard to get that to fold in and be smooth. I just like to come back in and do a kind of double thing here to make sure this is going to hold down. Bend these in and just get them fully stuck down. And you'll see how those mitered corners just work out so well. And they're clean and they're sharp. And I just really like that. I'm going to bring in my other piece of paper here and just use that to cut. I mean, I could leave that, but I think it needs to be cleaner and nicer. So I'm going to bring in this other piece and do that. So I'm going to use this two-sided tape again. And this is designed to be able to just tear it, but because I just want this particular one to be super neat, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And see how these would overlap? Go ahead and pull up the backing on that one before I lay this one down. And okay, now I'm going to carefully position this. Okay, and put that down. And that just gives such a clean, completed side. And that is going to be your cover. And that is going to go right on the front of our notebook. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing. And this paper, there's the sort of worn out side. I think I'm going to use that on the front. So I'm going to use my 2-inch tape again. And this tape holds really firmly. And then instead of doing what I did on that last one, I'm just going to use a couple of rows of my thinner two-sided tape. Okay, and let's get that tape pushed down really well. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to line that up real carefully. Make sure. Okay. Push that down. And then I'm going to bring in my notebook, line that up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fold and push down along that top and fold again and push down to the back. There. Now, this notebook can be used for a Christmas to-do list or a to-do list any time of year, of course. It can be used for notes, gratitudes, keeping game scores. There's just so many ways that can be used. And so now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of push down on that top to square it up and just make that really precise and clean. We're going to go ahead and put on our other poinsettia and maybe some of that green. Okay, and I've also brought in a little sentiment tag that I've backed with some of our green and red, just so that'll stand out. I'm going to use, once again, our transfer tape that can be used on paper. And it's a little small, but we're going to make that work. There. And actually, I'm wondering if the smaller one... Wait, let's go big. Okay, so let's take that off. Put that down. Okay, and then let's just pull that off. Oh, I do like that. But let's compare. Let's grab one of my other ones. You know, I love those. I just think this is fun and easy, but these from this stamp set, oh wow, I can see myself using that over and over again. We're going to go ahead with this so you can get really a view of that. And then I'm just going to line that up. Okay, so there is our finished version. Stay till the end and I'll show you which way I decided to go, whether to leave it with this or use the other one. In the end, you'll see how I finished everything up. So handy, so cute, easy gift, very fun, a very nice thank you gift for a teacher, for neighbors, for someone who's just done something kind. Okay, the last way that I'm going to show you to make poinsettias, I'm going to use my Spellbinders hot foil glimmer machine. And this is the first time I'm getting it out since starting to craft for the holidays, and I just have to say I'm really enjoying it. I'm still learning a lot about it. So I went ahead and plugged it in, and I'm just going to turn it on right here, and then you'll see the buttons come on. Okay, so I get my plate heating up. All right, and I've got a shim and a spacer pad, and so, and you can see I've been practicing. I've goofed. It's, you know, as I'm learning, I have made mistakes. These hot foil plates are pretty expensive, but I was able to find this at Hobby Lobby. Normally this is a $24 plate, so you would hope it would be something that you would use over and over and over. Well, when I found them on sale at Hobby Lobby, I thought, you know, I'm going to give it a try. And I know that you can also use your dies on a glimmer machine like this, and I will do a video for that at some point, because I have a lot more dies than I do hot foil plates. I actually could use that for other times of year if I'm kind of tricky and creative. So you lay down your plate and then you bring in your hot foil. I have started storing my foil sheets in envelopes similar to how I keep my dies and my stamps, because I like them when they lay flat. But for this video, I'm going to go ahead and use some of this gold that this comes with. And you always want the pretty side to go right down onto your plate. So lay that down like that, just on there. And then comes the paper that you're putting this on. I want to use the same pretty green that I used before. And then comes my thin shim and my top plate. So now I'm going to push the timer, and this light will blink, and then when it's done, I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Okay, so now that the green light is on, I can go ahead and take that whole sandwich out. I'm going to put it into my Big Shot and run that through. And then what that does is it actually adheres the foil to the paper. Okay, so let's take those off. And I'm just going to quickly move this over here so that it can be cooling off. I'm going to put my base back in so that I can do more things and it can stay heated up. And then let's take that and do the reveal. Oh, that is so pretty. I love that. That's gorgeous. So here's another way to do your poinsettias. So let me show you the ones I've done here. Here's the red with the gold. It's just so pretty. And then here's, and I've already cut that down. But here's the green with the silver. Absolutely beautiful. So the hot foil plate, that's a really fun way to get those, to get that real pretty metallic look that we like so much, particularly at Christmas time. Those are beautiful. I think I actually want to do one more because I am really interested in seeing how this pink comes out. Oh, that color is so beautiful. Let's get this cooling. I'm pretty grateful for that. Let's get our pad back in case we have more to do. Let's see how this comes out. This is such a fun part, the big reveal. Oh, beautiful. Oh, I love that. But those are gorgeous. I think any of them are wonderful for the holidays. And so I'm going to show you the completed cards. Okay, so here are the 2 cards that we made with that beautiful foiling. I used both parts here just to create some interest, and then used a sentiment from the Christmas paper packet that I showed you. Anything I have that uses that poinsettia, I am loving. I think that's one of the best dies I have ever bought. I love that card. Let's look at all of our things that we made today, all of our variations. We've got our poinsettias in the foiling, and then look what I did. Yes, I did replace, actually I just covered the vinyl poinsettia with this one just because it is just so pretty. But look at that beautiful notebook that can be used for any number of things. Lovely gift for a friend, a teacher, a neighbor. And then we have our other card that we made using that. Let's compare those. I do really like this paper back here. I love that same poinsettia against this paper. And then we've got our decor, or a gift that you can make where you can take out that back and then just keep replacing this inside with a different paper, a different sentiment for another holiday. And then you've got some decor that actually can be switched out and not take up a lot of storage space. And what a fun gift for a friend or a loved one. So there are our explorations with the poinsettia. And so I hope you like that. I hope you'll give that a try and explore some poinsettia uses in your gift giving. And I hope you'll subscribe and join us next time. And we'll see you then.